Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be watching the Japanese are starting to realize. Now, note before we're going to start this video. I'm not Japanese. That's it. I'm not Japanese. I'm American. I just like the username. And one day I plan to go to Japan. So, keep that in mind. I do think I can still provide some insight into this video. And yeah.
Japanese are starting to realize what? At this rate, Japan might disappear. This may sound dramatic, but it's already happening. 25-year-old Japanese living alone in Tokyo. I used to fully support immigration because I thought diversity would make the world more interesting. I think diversity does make the world more interesting, but the whole world doesn't need to be in your city. So,
yeah, I agree with that. Just because diversity makes everything more, it's good. It's like diversity is good, but not every person, not every race has to be in that specific area alone. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Like, I'm a big fan of multiculturalism, of diversity. I'm actually a fan of this. I think it's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that you have to combine everything into a massive soup in every single area. I think that different cultures...
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense either. Like, don't do that. The problem with that is, people are different, cultures are different. Trying to put everyone into a soup of cultures will not work. It will not work. People are tribal. Tribalism still exists, just in a softer, more humane scale. But the main principle still happens. People's opinions are different. We're not robots, we're not clankers, we're all the same. We're all not the same in some aspects, and in a small bit we are. Like, in a very small bit we are. There's some inherent factors, like biological factors, that are across the board. But in terms of culture, in terms of people, in terms of race, in terms of nationality, in terms of all that, people are different. There can be groups of people who are the same, but there are absolute people who don't like those who don't practice those cultures, who don't care about those cultures like someone else does. So, yeah.
There's cultures that don't really mix very well together, right? And I think we all know this. I think it's a politically incorrect thing to say, but it's a very factually correct.
Yeah. Not everyone's gonna mix. Not everyone's going to mix. Like, I don't know. Let's see an example. Actually, yeah. Here's an example. China and the United States. Those two countries, they can get along with each other, but there are certain Chinese people who do not like the Americans, and there are certain Americans who do not like the Chinese. That doesn't, just because there are people who like both of them, there are both sides who like each other, does not mean they should be one for a country. Because that doesn't make any sense at all. Don't do that. Because there are going to be a lot of people who hate the other side. So putting them into a box of some sorts, it's going to lead to infighting, and it's not going to be good for the... It may be politically incorrect, but in terms of this, facts are way above politics.
Correct thing to say also, that certain cultures don't mix very well. And that doesn't mean that they can't have interplay. That doesn't mean that they can't have mutual appreciation. That doesn't mean that they can't work together to solve common problems. But it does mean that in day-to-day life, if you have these people living next door to each other, you're going to have problems. You are. That's the way it is. We see my opinions change. Not that I'm against it. And this is what people are still in this period of time. Like, again, I've always had...
Yeah, people are in this period of time. The good news is... Actually, there's no good news about this, but the thing is, there are people who... Some people don't completely hate it. Some people want to keep some form of immigration, like I do. Now, there are some people who just want to get rid of everyone who has immigrated. Which, I don't think that's okay either. I don't think that's a good thing either. In my opinion, I think the two most basic criteria is you should be if you cannot speak the local language, and in some, and I mean very some cases, if you cannot speak the secondary language, then you shouldn't be allowed in the country. Like for Japan example, give them a JLPT test. Give them a either an English proficiency test, a JLPT test, or both, depending on who they are. Or actually, not depending on who they are, but if they want it. But they have to take one. They have to take one. Like, actually, yeah, they have to take one. Test them on their Japanese knowledge. If they pass the test, still do a background check, still evaluate them on everything else. But if they fail, then don't let them in. Don't do anything else but let them fail. Well, fail them. Because it doesn't make sense to let someone who cannot assimilate into the society. That's literally it. You cannot letting. Again, it's tribalism. It's every country is like a tribe of millions of people. Some, I guess, most countries are millions. Some are smaller. Point is, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of tribal people. It's a lot of people in a tribe. Why are we thinking it's not? It's not the same. No, this isn't 7,000 BC. This isn't the Stone Age. You're not gonna die if you can't go into a tribe. But you know what can happen is you shouldn't be allowed into one if you can't follow the basic rules. That's literally it. If you cannot follow the laws, they shouldn't let you in. Like that's literally it. It's insane how people think that you should be let in no matter what. It's a sob story. A sob story doesn't matter. Like coming to America, for example. If you don't know English, then you're not coming in. That's it. It doesn't matter if you come from Afghanistan and the Taliban took your family. Too bad, so sad. Like, it's not. It sounds kind of mean to say, but it's the truth. If you cannot assimilate to society, you shouldn't be let into society. That's it.
This viewpoint, and I probably always will, but I think a lot of people are afraid of being labeled as a racist for being against immigration, especially like large forms of immigration. But I think this is a receding value. I think that in time, people will simply not care because
Yeah, people won't care because the word racist is being used a lot too much, and it's being used incorrectly, basically. But yeah. Again, I'm not anti-immigration, but I'm definitely for more stricter laws on immigration, more stricter evaluations on immigration. So this doesn't happen. So people don't get radicalized thinking that all immigration is bad. People don't think all immigration is bad. All immigrants are bad people. No, that's not a good thing either.
as calling people a racist for being against immigration, I think that this has hit a very large diminishing return. I fear Japan will split into two separate communities. Wow, only two? That's pretty lucky. How about that? I saw a similar scene in Canada. I hear Canada is having a lot of it because I don't like how I.
You see, now this is the problem. If by letting people who don't assimilate into society in the society, if they can't speak the language, they're going to form groups. They're going to form many tribes in the the country. They're going to form tribes. It's literally human nature at this point. Canada, like, it makes total sense why this is happening. Why would a student who can only speak Chinese talk to a student who can only speak English? That's it. That's literally it. If you can't speak the language, then they're going to form groups. Now, groups aren't bad in their own right. They're not bad. But they can happen in groups. Gangs. What can happen in gangs? A lot of violence. So yeah, You should have to be able to speak the language. That's it. That's my entire point. Because we're not. This isn't a divided society. This is a one society. This isn't a divided union of people. This is a bunch of people, a country coming together for commonality, some commonality.
I've said this before. I don't like how Indians from India, not Native American, your American Indians, but Indians from India. I don't like how they're treated on social media. I think it's unfair, right? And I'm a big fan of racist jokes. I love racist jokes.
Yeah, me too. Racist jokes are funny, but people shouldn't be treated like a joke. People like Indians, for example, Indian street food. I think Indian street food might be okay. I don't know. I haven't been to India, but I know for a fact that all Indian street food isn't bad. Some of it is definitely bad, but not all of it. In the same form of saying like made in China, for example. Made in China. Like saying everything made in China is bad. No, that isn't bad either. Some of it is, but not everything is bad. So you shouldn't be. It shouldn't be treated. Being treated unfairly because of that.
I ask any of my real life friends. Okay, I love them. That being said, what I'm not a fan of is the fact that Indians and white people, and to a lesser degree Asians, have this almost permissiveness with allowing racial jokes on their negative, on their behalf negatively, but whenever you're talking about other racial minorities, in some cases, you're not allowed to do them. I think all of it's okay or none of it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be some people get this and some people get that. No, you should. I humbly believe that in a joking manner you can call someone a monkey. Like how Frieza doesn't. Actually, Frieza just calls them monkeys. But I think you can call someone a monkey. You can call your best friend a monkey. You can call your best friend a funny monkey. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's bad at all. Because again, it depends on, are you joking or not? If you're actually calling them a monkey for the sake of, because they are looking like this, they act like a certain way, like you're not joking, that's one thing. But if you're just joking, calling your best friend a monkey because they did something stupid, then that should be allowed. That should be allowed.
That's okay. That's my viewpoint. Again, I don't like how Indians have been included into that. Yeah, white guilt. Yeah, sure. At their expense. Yeah. And joke and hate is different. I think it's pretty obvious, right? Like, I'm basically all of the jokes or none of the jokes kind of guy. And if I had to pick, I would go 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 with all of the jokes. Yeah, you're going to get a few racist people, but we've got them anyway, and the jokes aren't allowed to begin with, so clearly it hasn't stopped anything. And in my opinion, this is my opinion, but in like the 2000s, I feel like a lot of this like racial politics stuff wasn't as front and center as it is now. And this is with Dave Chappelle dressing up as a KKK member.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think polarizingly, things have gotten more intense, more really hard in the 2010s, 2000s. Like people used to be able to do a lot. Like, the streamers, like those people like PewDiePie, who said the hard R. He's fine now. He said that back in 2016, 2017. Point is, he said that back then. If he would have said that now, he would have been canceled. He would have been canceled so quickly. Saying the N-word. Saying the N-word? Okay, another tangent, basically. If you're not saying the N-word in a racist manner, you can say the N-word. Anyone can say the N-word. It's literally a word. It's the same way as saying fuck. The same way as saying shit. It's just a word. It's just a word. A word does not mean... A word is not going to cast a spell on you. No, a word is not going to cast a spell on you. So yeah. But yeah.
This was with all kinds of Rush Hour, Jackie Chan, and was it Chris Tucker, making racist jokes the entire.
Oh yeah, We can go back to Looney Tunes. Let's go back to Looney Tunes. All the way back then in the 40s and 50s. They made racist jokes. The Indians, the Chinese Tom. That was racist, but it was fun. It was mighty funny. It was funny. So, like, it doesn't make any sense why I can't make a joke now. Everyone takes it way too seriously.
That the entire movie was a racist joke. And everybody was going to see it. Everybody loved it. White people, black people, Asians, Hispanics, everybody loved this movie. How many of you guys watched any of the Rush Hour movies in movie theaters with your parents or by yourself if you're old enough, right? How many of you guys watched one of those movies in movie theaters? The end. All of comedy, all of cinema was building up to the magnum opus, Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder was the pinnacle. It was the peak. It was as good as it was going to get. Everything after Tropic Thunder was worse. Everything before Tropic Thunder was worse. That right there, that was the... If we could just crystallize and keep that society, everything in the world would be perfect, okay? So I've never seen Tropic Thunder. Big mistake. Now you should go to jail. And in fact, Tropic Thunder's peak is so sad. Everything has been trashed since then. Well, some of the movies have, I mean, I think there have been some good, like some good movies. Like This Is the End. I remember watching that one. I like that one. I thought 21 Jump Street was a good movie. Those are just two that come right off the top of my head after Tropic Thunder. But, in a general sense, I think that you're right. But anyway, so yeah, people hate immigration because immigrants never assimilate and respect the country. Well, they don't do that because they are being brought in at levels that they don't have to.
Yeah, that's it. People hate immigration because some people end up hating immigration because the immigrants assimilate, but they don't actually assimilate to the main society. They assimilate into groups, like why we have Chinese groups, why we have the Chinatowns in LA, why we have all those, because there's a bunch of people. Chinese culture is where it really stands. That isn't bad. Again, that isn't bad, but they aren't even trying because they don't have to. They're not doing something they don't have to. If there's enough of them, then if there's enough Indians, Hispanics, Chinese, Koreans, anyone, if there's enough people there that speak the same language as you, then you don't have to try to change that. You don't have to try to speak the local language because you already have enough people as it is. You can get a job. You can get everything without needing to speak that other language. Which, again, I think how this problem sprung up was letting these people in in the first place. Now we're seeing the consequences of these actions. Now we're seeing that since we've let all these people in, now they're forming groups. Literally tribal. Again, it's tribalism. They're going to form groups. Good groups, bad groups, it doesn't matter. They're going to form groups of people who don't care about the other groups, even if they're technically in the same tribe. They're going to form many tribes. They're going to form group tribes. They're going to form different tribes in the big country tribe. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes a lot of sense why this is happening.
It's kind of like, so here's a really good parallel to this. Do you guys ever remember back whenever it was like your first day or your first week in middle school or high school, and you probably sat with all the people that you went to middle school or elementary school with, right? So like, it's your first day of middle school, you find all the people that came from like your elementary school and you're sitting and hanging out with them. And then over time you assimilate into the middle school and then you make new friends.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an analogy there. That's a great example. Great example. School. You sit with the people you already know, then you go out and you make more friends. Now, there is a caveat. If you're going to a new school, then you have to make new friends. That's basically like middle school. The former is going to happen. But when you move into a different country, most likely, or it used to be most likely, the latter would happen. You have to make new friends. You have to do new things to get to meet new people. But now, you can just sit with the same people you knew back from that other country, and you might maybe have to assimilate. You maybe have to do this. Like, that's why people from other countries form gangs. That's why people from other countries form gangs, like in the UK. Look at all those migrant gangs, them from Pakistan, and all those migrant gangs. Because they don't care about the people. They care about themselves. They care about the other Pakistanis there. Pakistan is just an example. There's a lot of other gangs. The gang members care about each other and no one else. They want gain. Human nature, they want gain. They're gonna exploit. And if it means doing whatever, they're gonna do whatever. And they don't get in trouble for it, so they're gonna still keep doing whatever.
Etc., right? I think that if you bring in too many people from one group, they stay at that table. This is like maybe kind of a weird metaphor to make, but I think that it's very personal and a lot of people can...
Yeah. I mean, which makes a lot of sense because people don't want to go out unless people... Being alone is not a good thing, but people wouldn't want to make friends, feeling rejection, bullying, a lot of things. But some people still will, but some people won't. When it goes to another country, most people will not change. Most people just won't change because they don't. That's it. So you have to force them to change. That's why I believe in making it a requirement you have to speak the language. Because as number one, it's going to curb stomp everyone who just wants to come here for non-reasons. Because why would a gang member learn English or some other language? Why would a gang member learn English just to come and cause havoc? That's only something a spy would do. It's only something James Bond would do. So, make that a mandatory.
Relate to it, right? I think that's kind of what happens. And so that's really the issue, or you don't. Well, not everybody's, I mean, every person isn't the same. I'm making generalities. So, yeah. Anyway, and I remember the same thing happened when I was in high school, too, etc. And anyway, let's go back. We'll watch this, and we'll finish it. I'm going off on another fucking tangent. I apologize. European... See, now I don't want my dad to call me to tell me, move on, stuff. He would always complain, just play the fucking video. And he would always... This is the thing. He would always say, Hassan plays videos, and he doesn't talk at all. And then you play...
Well... Hassan's a dimwit Hassan's a dimwit. That's all it is. Hassan's a dimwit. I think these conversations are good. These videos and conversations are good to show people why these things happen. Because if people know why these things happen, change can enact. Change can happen, and change is good. If people understand why this is happening, change can happen. Like a math problem. Asmongold having these conversations subtracts the number of people who don't know, which then equals the amount of change that could happen, the amount of potential change that could happen. Like, yeah.
Play videos, and you can't stop fucking talking. What is wrong with you? Why can't you guys just be in the middle? Because you just sit there and complain about it all the time. And so anyway, yeah, that was it. Anyway, play it. Okay, excuse me. European and Asian exchange students sap differently. Of course they do. Of course. Europeans debated politics and society, while Asians just exchanged small talk and laughed.
Yeah, people are different. Culture's different. That's all I have to say. People are going to be different.
If things stay the same, Japan will turn to two divided societies, Japanese and foreigners. Politicians in Japan who can't speak English... Wait a second. Can't speak English well. Well, yeah, of course. Language is the tool, so maybe it's okay to not speak it perfectly. But aren't we too naive, too sheltered to face the world as we are now? Well, I don't think that Japanese politicians need to learn another fucking language.
No, they don't. They don't need to learn another language because the majority of people are Japanese. It's not a minority. Excuse me. It's not a minority. It's the majority. The majority of people know Japanese. Now, since this is a democracy, if there's enough people, if there's a politician who favors the foreigners over the Japanese, if there's enough foreigners in that country, then that would be a bad thing. But there isn't. There isn't enough. That's the thing. We can stop it now and prevent that from happening before democracy goes out of control.
Language. If you are in Japan and you are a Japanese, you're living in Japan, you need to learn Japanese.
Yeah. Simple as that. I say maybe you might have to learn English as well, but it really is just Japanese. Like, I've seen it. Every video on Japan I've learned. Every video Japan. It's always English signs, English tourist signs, English this, English that. If you're going to live in Japan, you can't. English tourist signs aren't going to help you. They're going to be a help, but they're not going to absolutely help you. You can't get a job. There's not going to be a tourist sign, and if you can't speak the language, you can't ask your employer for help. You don't even know what the word for help is. If they ask you, if they ask you how are you in Japanese, you can't like, again, you can't assimilate. You have to speak Japanese to be in the society. So you can actually contribute to the society. You can contribute to the economy. You can contribute to the culture. You can contribute to a lot of things. So, yeah, good Asmon.
Okay, they don't need to make everything in English for you. Now, it might be convenient for tourism.
Yeah, conveniency. That's the, like, if Japan is like one of the countries that does this. I don't know if there's another one. It's like Afghanistan, for example. They don't do that. I don't think they do that a lot. But you know, but because they don't have to. They don't have to. If you're going to Afghanistan, number one, we think your travel choices. But number two, if you're gonna go live in Afghanistan, really think your travel choices. Really think your life choices. But number three, the actual point. You should be knowing that you should have to be able to speak Arabic to go to Afghanistan. The same thing. I don't actually mind if I have to go learn Japanese to live in Japan. Because then I could assimilate into the culture better because I can talk to a lot more people there.
Etc. And I understand that. But that being said, no. It's the same thing I said here in the U.S. You come to the United fucking States, you gotta speak fucking English, all right? Like, that's the way it is. And so you go to France, you better fucking speak French. You go to, I don't know, India, speak fucking...
Speak Indian. We don't, like, people are so used to, tourists and people are so used to being pampered. Are so used to having a tour guide now that speaks the language, that says everything and does everything. Which makes sense, because conveniently, I wouldn't... Learning a language just to go to a place, learning a language like Japanese, that's like one of the hardest languages in the world, just to take a trip to Japan, no. Now, that's why for tourists, I propose an idea. I propose a commonality idea. The most common words, the most common phrases, the most common everything you go to Japan with. Because people aren't gonna make fun of you if you can't speak the language if you can't speak the language entirely correctly. If you say sumimasen in the wrong pitch accent, or if you say arigato wrong, if you say anything wrong, they're not gonna make fun of you, but they will tell you. Hopefully. But, yeah. I think for tourists, they should have to learn the most basic phrases. They should have a list of the most basic phrases and particles, and you have to learn those to be able to go.
Indian, Hindu, I'm not really sure what the language is, but it's not fucking American, I'll tell you that. And so you go anywhere, you know, you go to Brazil, you speak Portuguese. That's the way it is. Hindi? Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100%. So yeah, duh, of course. Sure. Meanwhile, some foreigners wait, was that Johnny?
That was Johnny Somali. You know, and you see what happens? Johnny Somali. His bum Somali ass caused this. He didn't cause this, but he definitely caused a lot of people to hate him, to hate foreigners. He caused that to happen because
Sure. Meanwhile, some foreigners.
Let's go back. Let's go look at this heading. Foreigners' influences on bringing us.
Some foreigners caused.
Yeah, that was Johnny Somali.
Wait, was that Johnny Somali?
That was Johnny Somali. Johnny Somali arrested again. It's him.
It was at like 3 frames, bro. Like 3 frames. I saw his fucking ass. Some foreigners cause trouble in Japan.
Yeah,
they do. And y'all.
Yeah, and to prevent that, you have to speak the language. If you want to go to Japan, if you want to live there, you have to speak the language because it will deter a lot of people. Because of the fact of the matter is, Japan doesn't have the problem with America, like how in America a lot of people want to go to America for seeking asylum. Japan doesn't have that problem. So, making them speak the language. Force them to speak the language. Force them to only be able to speak the language. Like, I'm actually in favor for Japan, for Japanese only bars. You can only speak Japanese in the bars. So people like this, people like Johnny Somali don't do this. People like Johnny Somali aren't there. Because if you learn the local language to go there, to live there, then you're most likely not going to cause trouble. Most likely. Because why would you spend 5 years of your life learning Japanese just to be banned out the country? Common sense.
Made a mistake. See, Korea is based.
Yeah, Korea's based. He's facing, I think, 30 years in prison. I think. I actually don't remember. Bro, Japan just kicked him out and gave him a 5-year ban. Man, that isn't gonna do anything. He would come back in those 5 years and do it again. Korea gave him a prison sentence. Good for him. Good for South Korea. Based. Johnny Somali deserves a prison sentence.
See, if Korea was really based, I haven't talked about this for a while, so I got to remind you guys of my great idea. I think the way to bring North Korea into the global economy and to make them a country and to de-radicalize them is to make them the world's prison. And we have Kim Jong-un, and we send everybody who's a problem to North Korea. And so we send...
That would work. Imagine every person who has done political crimes, every person who's a really big problem, like a prison sentence above, let's say, 50 years, go to North Korea. Now, is that humanely okay? No. But it would make sure a lot of people don't commit crimes, because 50 years in prison in America is good. It's fine. Actually, not fine, but way better than 50 years in a North Korean gulag-style prison. And you want to go to the gulags. No one wants to go to the gulags now. There can be a lot of people who can go to prison for 50 years in America. No one wants to. Most people don't want to go to prison for 50 years. But send a really bad person to North Korea. A lot of criminals are not going to do that. No, they're going to think.
And Johnny Somali.
They're going to rethink their life choices.
To North Korea, the guy that went and tried to shoot fucking Charlie Kirk. North
Korea. Send them all to North
Korea. Everybody that's a problem in the entire world.
Yeah, give them money for it. Now that isn't humanely okay either, because most of them people are probably gonna die. The gulags. It's basically almost a death sentence going to end in North Korea. Escape from Pyongyang. Escape from Pyongyang. Golly. But yeah, send them to North Korea. They're probably going to die. And also, it would help the North Korean economy a lot. Because they get the money off the prisoners. We can also pay them to house these people. And for exchange, they maybe maybe calm down a little bit.
Goes to North Korea. And that way, it's like the country's already a fucking prison. You might as well make some money off of it, right? And so, yeah, I think they should do that with Johnny Somali. Tried to shoot it. Well, yeah, I mean, he succeeded. I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? But I actually was thinking about Trump, too, and that's why I kind of got confused. But yeah, that new global penal colony drop. Yeah, I think that's the future for North Korea, is it will be the world's super jail.
Yeah, a country supermax prison, a country-sized supermax prison. That would be actually a good idea. So the world's worst people. Excuse me. The world's worst people go there. They don't have to, the world's worst people go there. So people are very afraid of doing bad things. Now, the thing is, the only problem with that is, one, it isn't humanely good, because yeah, most people are probably gonna die. And number two, that only works if you have a good country. Like, we'll take Iran for example. In Iran, you can get arrested for a lot of things. We'll take Afghanistan. You can be arrested for a lot of things. That's not a democracy. So, you could be kicked. You can go be sent to North Korea, which is good. And also, relationship-wise, every country who wants to send a person to North Korea has to have a good relationship with North Korea. So if relations fall through, all those people, they're gonna automatically have hostages there. They already have bidding hostages. They're gonna have bidding hostages already there. They did that with Japan, like did that in the 80s, where they took a bunch of Japanese people and they kind of held them hostage. And most of them I think some of them died. So yeah, that's the only issue with that.
For everybody that annoys me. On SNS, crimes are instantly blamed on foreigners. Well, so here's the problem though, right? Is that they're probably right.
Yeah, they probably are right. They probably are right. It's a sad fact, but yeah, they're probably right. So, yeah.
I have seen so many people go to Japan and treat it like it's a private server.
Yeah. So many people go to Japan and treat it basically push those people around, because Japan has been known as a soft country. As a soft country, it's been seen like that for a very long time. Way back when the kanji was first introduced in Japanese, in the Japanese language, the Chinese called them soft, because they bow and they do this and they pray and they do all this. Now, that isn't a good image, because yeah, like the same reason why no one would want to commit a crime in North Korea. North Korea. People commit a lot of crimes. It's the opposite for Japan. Because in North Korea, you could be put to death for taking a poster. But in Japan, you're probably getting a week's sentence. Actually, maybe even less, a day's sentence if you're a foreigner. Depending on if it's just a poster. Japan needs harsher laws on certain things and fix some laws on other things. That's the thing. That's why they're being stepped on.
Where everything is free and you can do whatever you want. Like, they're going around. Yeah, they're being obnoxious. They're not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Japan society is really it's a really good place to go to. It's beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful country with vending machines. But why the same reason why American people Why American people don't have the same kawaii vending machines. They don't get nice things because there are a lot of people who would do bad things for the sake of it. For just do bad things. So yeah. Again, if you want to keep a society like that, like Japan's, you have to enact very strict rules so that you don't get trampled on.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that go to countries like Japan, places in the United States, and they go specifically to the PvE servers. You never see them do this shit in Dubai.
Nah, you're gonna get sent to jail, 10 years in prison. I don't think anyone wants to go to 10 years in prison. No one wants that. No one's gonna do that in Dubai or North Korea or any of these countries because they know they're going to get in serious trouble. Again, it's human nature. They're going to exploit. Now, if they know they're gonna get in bad situations doing it, they're not gonna do it there. But if there's an exploit, they're going to exploit it.
And that's also a PvE server, because if you break the fucking rules, well, that's it. And so the truth is that because these countries are so permissive, and the reason why they're permissive is because they are high trust society countries.
High trust societies, people take advantage of the societies, of those people, and then the society gets trampled. The society gets trampled, excuse me. That's it.
That are very well developed, and they have a homogenous culture. And so they can allow a higher degree of permissiveness because of that higher degree of trust. But what's happening is that you have foreigners. You got foreigners coming in there and causing all the fucking problems. And that's what's happening over in Japan. It is. And you see videos of it. I'm not making this up. We've all seen
videos of people. There's a new streamer dude who's in Japan, right? Who's in Japan causing trouble. Because they think they can do it. They think they can do it. If you give them 10 years, make them an example, then people are gonna stop doing it. But Japan will not do that. Give him 10 years in a Japanese prison, and then deport him after, and give him a 10-year ban. There. That way you won't. That way, people are going to not do these things. If they know they could get 10 years in Japanese prison, and since they have it on video, they know that they do this. They know that they might be getting 10 years in prison. If they knew that, then they wouldn't do it. As simple as that.
Everybody knows this is happening. The truth is clear. It is. Absolutely it is. Of course, this makes people uneasy. Fear grows and divisions grow too. I want to see a Japan where diverse people can live together. That's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, it will not happen.
You can have people that live together to a degree, but there is a degree of diversity that becomes untenable.
Every place will have diversity, but every place that has diversity, then everyone is not going to be in the same boat. They're going to be in different boats. Does that mean they can agree on a lot of things? Yes, but they cannot. But some people just cannot agree on one thing. Some people just not agree on the other thing. That's it. So, I'm sure what Asmongold about to say is, there is a level of diversity that can be achieved, and there's a level of agreeability that can be achieved. But that's it. There will be divide. There is going to be a divide. They can agree on certain things. Like the Civil War, for example, where people fought for state rights. There was a divide of people. The Civil War happened because of division. The Civil War happened because the United States cannot be unionated and cannot be together. The Civil War happened because people didn't like that. Because a lot of people didn't like something, so they decided to become a different tribe. They decided to leave the United States tribe and become a new separate tribe in itself. And you know how that ended? The Confederate United States was destroyed. The South was completely wiped off the map. They didn't get blown up because this is the 1860s, but they surrendered. They failed. They didn't do what they wanted to do. There's still a lot of Confederate sympathizers back then. There was a lot of Confederate sympathizers, but they were overpowered by the Union, the entire Union of the United States. So yeah, like we have the United States of America for a reason. People are different, laws are different. That's just the way it is. So yeah.
You can't have somebody who wants to, like, you can't have, like, let's say an Islamic fundamentalist that's living next to a person who is trans that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Literally, you cannot have that. Or it's not going to be a good idea to have that. That's the thing. Divide will happen. Divide is going to happen. Because not every. If everyone was a robot and everyone thought the exact same way, divide wouldn't happen. But that's the beauty of human society. There are different opinions happen, allowing for different people's ideas to flourish and allowing for everything. But there is a double-edged sword with that, meaning people will be divided when certain things. Instead of trying to completely prevent divide, which could cause more divide, it should be that we should not let division get too bad. We shouldn't let a civil war happen. We should compromise in a way.
Has like 3 adopted kids. Like, this is going to cause issues. And I'm sure that in some cases it works out, but you extrapolate this data and you're going to have problems and problems and problems. And so that's just what's going to happen. True story. Yeah, it's just how it is. So this is naive. I think that there is a degree of multiculturalism, a degree of multiracialism that works. I think most multiracialism pretty much can work unless people are assholes, but especially multiculturalism, there's a degree of it that works, but extremism is the problem. And the issue is that whenever you have a lot of people that don't integrate, if you want to go to Japan, you want to change Japan and make Japan more like you, or more.
If you want to do that, people are not going to like you. Because I wouldn't like you either. To be completely honest, no one would like someone who's trying to force their trying to force their agenda on them and trying to change. It's not even your country. It's not your house to be in. You're at a guest's house. They're letting you be there. They're letting you stay there. So you can't just it's like, for example, it's like if you're a roommate to someone. It's like, actually, no, it's not like if you're a roommate, because, no. Actually, better example was like, if you're letting someone, if someone lets you stay at their house for a little bit. I guess actually as a roommate, but still, it's not your house. You can't eat all the food, you can't replace all the cookware with, leaves, and you can't paint the entire house black. If it was your house, go ahead, do that. But this is not your house. People are going to be upset if you do that.
Or like the where you came from, go back to where you came from. That's my viewpoint with every country.
Yeah. Go back to where you came from. It's not a racist statement. It's not racist to say that. It's a generalized, it's a fact. If you want to change the country you are staying at, if you want to change the place you are staying at, then don't be here. If you don't like it, don't be here. If you don't like something, don't come here. Don't be a headache for everyone else.
In the world. If you want to make China more like where you came from, get the fuck out of China. If you want to make America more like where you came from, get the fuck out of America. That's my opinion. It's so obnoxious, patronizing, and fucking entitled. It's so entitled, isn't it? How obnoxious. Oh, God. From your side, how does Japan look? Japan looks like, this is my perspective on Japan. Japan looks like a country that is on the brink of a inevitable collapse because of its of its birth rates. And I think this is something that's existential. It's happening to South Korea also.
Yeah. The sad truth is that Japan, South Korea, they're facing a population collapse. South Korea has it way worse. They're probably going to be gone in the next 25 years. They're going to be almost dead in 25 years, and they're probably going to be gone in the next 75. They'll probably be gone in the next 50, 75 years. Japan has that same problem because the Western culture is bad, like really bad. People don't have time for things. People don't have time. But this is gonna make it even worse. Bringing foreigners who bring problems to Japan is gonna make it a lot worse than trying to help the society. Like instead of bringing people to Japan, instead of letting people come to Japan, maybe maybe help Japan itself first. Japan first. Make Japan great again. I will say that. Bring Japan back, and then think for the Japanese first. And once you think for the Japanese, think for the other people, the other people who aren't Japanese.
It's happening to a couple of countries in Europe, and it's happening in general. Now, why is this happening? I think there's like 10 different reasons, and honestly, I don't really know all the reasons, but it is obviously happening. It's happening here in the US. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's low spawn rates, right? And a lot of people are despawning faster than they're spawning. Then you're going to have the server be empty, right? That's what happens. And so anyway, that's where I think things are, and I think also Japan is becoming more and more what do you call it? More and more xenophobic because people go to Japan.
People go to Japan, cause problems, and now, yeah, people go to Japan, they cause problems, and people don't like that, so they blame it on all the foreigners. Now, is that a good opinion to have? No. Not. It's a generalized statement that every foreigner is bad, which isn't. That's not a fact. That's no. But people will do that. People will do that. So we have to. If you want to stop this from happening, we have to stop this from happening. We have to stop people from coming in here. We have to stop people from just being able to just come in here. We have to, again, enact rules so strict that it wouldn't be viable to come in here for a negative reason.
And they treat Japan like it's an anime. Like they
Yeah. This isn't anime land either. Japan is a normal place. Japan, it's like saying, it's like, Japan is probably like one of the only problems, like a countrywide problem for this. We can take South Korea and take K-pop, for example. K-pop, people think that idols are just singers you can fawn over. They're still people. Japan, there's still people. Saying anime words and bowing an unserious, an extreme amount is not going to work. It's not going to help your case. It's not going to help your case at all.
I don't know if really the word is dehumanize because it's an entire culture and a group of people. But like, I'll give you an example of this. So this is kind of what's happening, right? Tourists are poking holes in the screen erected to block photos from Mount Fuji. Yeah, there we go, right?
Yeah. They're doing that. Because they don't. If they were sentenced, people wouldn't do this. If they were sentenced, let's give them like, let's ban them from Mount Fuji. If, like, make it a ticket. Make it a ticket. If you cannot make it as soon as you pass that wall, you have to have a ticket to go to Mount Fuji. And if you don't have a ticket, then you're getting kicked out by security. Make security there. People would not do this. People wouldn't do this if they actually had very bad consequences.
And this is the kind of stuff that I find to be so just incredibly disrespectful.
This is disrespectful. Yeah, they put up a wall. Don't do that. And people are still doing it.
And just entitled. Tourists are poking holes in the screen erected to block photos from Mount Fuji. Get the fuck out of Japan. Get
out of here. If you think this is allowed, yeah. It's like going to America. And then it's like going to America and then cutting down a fence for an airport and then expecting them to let you fly a plane. No!
Fuck out of here. What are you doing? What are you doing going to a country that they clearly don't want you to do it? The guys, yeah, what is this here? Chinese tourist? Well, that's the thing, right? Is that what's really great?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who this person is. Chinese, Korean, doesn't matter. It's not a good thing all across the board. You can also see it too. When that Pokemon thing happened, like a month ago, when they had those Pokemon stuff, a lot of people were blaming a lot of Japanese people were blaming the Chinese because they hate each other. They don't like each other. But so the Japanese don't really like the Chinese anyway already. I don't think it's a good idea for that to be the entire rest of the world. No, because that'd be terrible.
About China becoming more modernized and industrialized is that China is the other country with asshole fucking tourists.
Yeah, Chinese people are entitled. Most Chinese tourists are entitled. Most of them. There are some Chinese tourists that are good. There are a lot of them. They are good, but there are some Chinese tourists who act entitled. Like the aunties, the grandmas, the old people especially, they act entitled. They think they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Is that back in the day, every tourist that was being an asshole in another country, it was always an American, right? But now China is doing their part. And now there's a bunch of Chinese tourists that go out all over the world, and now they're carving their name on the pyramids. Now they're trying to fucking poke holes and stuff like this. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Russians are notorious for being asshole tourists. Yeah, my dad told me that the Japanese people called Russians Americans with no dollars.
Damn. Damn.
This is back because my dad visited Japan for like the World Fair in like the fucking 60s or like late 60s, early 70s because he was in Vietnam. And so, yeah, he told me about that. And
that was back then. What about now?
Yeah, right. Americans with no dollars. And Israelis are the worst. Yeah, I'd never heard that before. No, my dad has a lot of... there is a lot of ancient text racism and xenophobia that I've never heard before except from my dad.
Yeah. There's been generational racism for thousands of years. People have been racist to each other since the dawn of time. People have actually, I guess, technically no. Tribalism happened, but there wasn't racism necessarily. Actually, yeah, racism still happened. Slaves still happened in the Roman Empire. There's still Roman slaves, but everyone was a slave back then. Back then, everyone could have been a slave. Anyone could have been a slave. That's it. The Roman people weren't slaves. Like the Roman society was closed off to a lot of people, a lot of normal people actually, except traders. Like traders, those people can come in, like all those. But if they captured someone, they're being a slave. That's literally it.
He was I think he might have been one of the only people that still existed in the world that remembered that type of racism. There it is. And anyway, so the wizard, yeah, he passed it down as much as he could, right? And I do my best to carry things forward. But yeah, that's pretty much where things are right now. And so this is so obnoxious. It's so obnoxious, so annoying. And in general, I don't know why Japan should not put up with this at all. In my opinion, if you're doing...
They shouldn't do this. You should be banned from Mount Fuji if you do this.
They should just say you're destroying property.
Yeah, you should just be banned from Mount Fuji. If you are destroying the property, take a picture, banned. You are banned from Mount Fuji. That's it.
And, you're getting fucking deported immediately and you're never coming back.
Yeah. People would stop doing this.
It's amazing that the Japanese people put up with this, and I think that they shouldn't. It's very, very weird. And I think that they are, it's not a pleasant conversation to have, and it's not a nice thing to do, but sometimes you have to do things that aren't nice in order to maintain things that are nice.
Yeah, you have to be mean to maintain order, so you can have nice things. You have to be mean to have nice things. That's why rules exist. That's why rules like this exist. And that's why rules exist in general. If a society with no rules existed, like an anarchy, there would be fighting. There would be groups fighting. Not a society like that cannot withstand, because as soon as someone made a central government, then it's not anarchy anymore. True anarchy, a society cannot last, because there's always going to be someone who wants to be on top, who want to make rules, and sometimes rules are good, sometimes rules are bad. Dictatorships, rules are bad. Some those rules may be bad. Those rules may be good. They can be good dictators. They can always be good. They can be good kings. That's the thing. Rules are good. Rules are made so there's order order in society, and rules are made so that can sustain. That can be that can sustain. Apology. But yeah.
And I think that Japan is in that situation. I think that in a lot of cases, America is in that situation. And I think that every country gets into that situation every once in a while. So that's pretty much what I think.
Thank you guys for watching. This video was polarizing, and I learned a lot of insight, and yeah. I don't think people should be allowed in Japan or any country if you can't speak the language. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. I am Asashi, and tune in next time. Like and subscribe to this video. Asashi